Welcome to the podcast. A little different today, so buckle your seatbelts. Raw and real. It's the Colton family.
Hey guys, today we are talking about a really awesome topic. God has a unique plan for your family.
So we're going to share some aspects of our path, not so that you replicate our path,
Not at all.
but so it's encouraging, maybe an inspiration, and maybe some natural assumptions that you might think about us. You'll find out something different, actually, because the natural assumptions usually aren't true about us, actually.
So we're going to share with you guys how God designed our family, which has been a journey over the last almost 21 years. We are going to celebrate our 21st wedding anniversary in just a few months.
It's been an amazing journey.
I know.
We're just getting going.
That's right. And we're also going to give you guys 3 steps or key essential elements to allowing God to lead you in the design of your unique journey.
This is such an important and powerful topic because oftentimes we can start to play the comparison game. I know you've taught a lot about that in a course, actually.
Oh,
the comparison trap.
Yeah, so the Biblical Friendship course, it's called The Christian Woman's Guide to Biblical Friendships.
Yeah.
You can find out about that at courageousparenting.com in the podcast show notes, which we have every week. But yeah, there's a couple chapters.
But so
what
that is you get caught up in this comparison game, and we start striving to be like others, or we get extra judgy about ways we don't want to be that other people are going down, even if they're good biblical things.
And we talked a little bit briefly about this in the last podcast when we were talking about taking few opinions, but make sure you take the right few was the title of the last podcast. And it was actually the last 2 podcasts. And we talk about the danger that people often make the mistake of stereotyping people. And then when they stereotype people, it justifies their reasoning behind not wanting to listen to their advice or listen to anything they put out there. Right. Yeah. And so, I'm just speaking from personal experience, you guys. This is just raw and real, right? Like I have struggled with that myself in the past.
Sure.
For example, when I was not wanting to homeschool, so the first 5 years of parenting, I did not want to homeschool at all. Yeah. And I share more about that in the homeschool blueprint.
We have other
stuff.
episodes on that.
But I didn't really want to be friends with other people that homeschooled, and I didn't really want to take their advice on parenting because I didn't want to do that. Actually. Yeah. And so,
or you can get, my kids are going to be the salt of the earth around other kids and socialize.
I mean, everybody has their thing, right? And then they just start to justify their opinion. So this is human nature.
We shouldn't do that to each other.
And we shouldn't do that to each other. And we also shouldn't stereotype one another because we can actually, what all this does is it creates division among the body of Christ.
Which is what the enemy wants.
It's exactly what the enemy wants. And it grieves the Father's heart. It grieves God's heart. And we don't want that. We don't want to be a part of that. We don't want to allow the enemy to use us in his schemes.
Because there's nothing in the Bible that says you have to homeschool. There's nothing in the Bible that says you need to put them in public school. So let's not get extra biblical about things. Let's read the Bible and let's love each other and let's care about the things that really do matter. In the Bible,
that's right.
Like we love Jesus.
Regardless of your lifestyle choices, we can all be the part of the body of Christ, right? Like, so we do homeschool. Yeah. And we have some very strong opinions about why we chose to do that.
It's been super fruitful for us.
Yeah. And if you guys are interested in learning more about that, you can go find that podcast.
But that's just one of the subjects.
Right. I'm just using it as an example today. But the reality is that we have an enemy. And he is out roaming, roaring around like he's a roaring lion, looking to see who he can devour. And one of the ways he likes to devour women especially, I mean, I don't know, guys probably struggle with this too, is the comparison trap. Yeah. He wants to ensnare us in the bondage of the comparison trap. And he does it in so many subtle and not so subtle ways. Yeah. And so we have to be on alert and aware for that. We have to be honest about our heart issues. right? If we struggle with jealousy or maybe judging or stereotyping, and we literally need to take those thoughts captive under the obedience of Christ and toss them out. And so we thought it would be interesting and fun because we have experienced a lot of, I mean, honestly, you guys, we have 8 kids, so there's 10 of us in our family. And even when we had 6, we were kind of labeled a big family. There were 8 of us.
Well, yeah.
So,
Ange,
what?
Everybody thinks that's a big family.
Yeah, I know. And so
that's 6.
Sorry, you guys. So anyway, the reality is we have experienced people stereotyping us for different things, even when you were an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Right? Like trying to get along with guys who were not entrepreneurs. Sure. There could have been stereotypes going both ways, right?
Right.
In our immaturity and their immaturity. I was a little immature back then, yeah. Yeah. And so this is the thing. We're just being honest about the things that we have struggled with. That's why we're able to label them, right? We're able to label them. And we wanted to share our real story with you guys because some of you may not have heard it.
So we'll start with some assumptions, and then we're going to go into the truth and start early on and walk to the present day and do it in a quick fashion.
We're going to try to make it quick.
Okay, so assumption is perhaps that we came from big families. That's why we desire big families. And there was a culture already set to do that. And we already saw it the way it was done. So it was easier for us.
People assume that. And Isaac, how many siblings did you have?
I have a brother and sister. I mainly grew up with my sister and not so much my brother. But yeah, and she was gone a lot. So I kind of...
Wait, but you also have another half-brother, Abel.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and he's the same age as Kelsey. But so you definitely didn't grow up with him because he was born a year after Kelsey was born.
Yeah. So anyways, and so, not a big family. And early on, some periods of time, somewhat broken and somewhat complete at different times. So without going into all that. But yeah, definitely didn't have that background and definitely didn't grow up a Christian, a believer. That's another assumption sometimes people make.
Another assumption is that people think since we teach biblical parenting that we must have been raised in biblical parenting and we knew all this stuff when we first had our first kid and we've just been... Is that true, Isaac?
I started reading the Bible at age 23, so...
There we go. I was raised in a Christian home, just to answer that question if some of you were wondering. I think if you've been listening to our podcast for any amount of time, you've probably gathered that. So I grew up in a Christian home and grew up going to church every Sunday, being very active in the church. My parents led worship. My mom worked for the church, still does.
You were so spiritual, you were never going to have a husband.
Oh my goodness. So there is a truth. It's not about being spiritual.
I'm not joking.
I know you're not joking. It's real, but it wasn't about being like spiritual.
Yeah.
It was... Okay, so I thought that God was calling me to celibacy and to be a missionary overseas.
That's honorable, super honorable.
And and so then when I met Isaac, I didn't want to have anything to do with him, not in a romantic kind of way.
Yeah, she just wanted a witness to me. So just
true story.
Send him to God and leave him alone.
That's right. And so that's a whole nother story that we're all over the place.
It's kind of fun though.
It is kind of fun.
But she said that we would never be together. And I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to get
married. Okay. Now they're all wondering what our marriage story is. That'll be a marriage podcast. Okay. Yeah. So what's another assumption, Isaac, that we were homeschooled? Because here we have homeschooled all the way from kindergarten through high school. A couple kids now have some kids in college.
I really had these weird thoughts about the homeschool world of just everything was weird about it.
I did too, but then I was more for it than against it because we tried putting our kid in preschool and she did great, but I was frustrated with
adamantly opposed to it.
He was adamantly opposed to homeschooling. That is true. I remember walking into the first homeschool conference that we went to, somewhere in Beaverton or something. And we walk in and Isaac goes, okay, we're walking back out. Come here. And he's like, okay, listen, we're not conformers. We're not going to conform. I married you the way you look and the way you are. We are not conforming.
You meaning changing the way you dress.
My appearance and all the things, right? And so we were young, you guys.
I was
and
a little
judgy.
immature.
We were judgy. Yeah. And we were stereotyping other people, which is why we're talking about this, right?
Absolutely.
And so it's important that you guys hear that these are the mistakes that we even made, and God had to get a hold of our hearts. We didn't make any decisions without being in alignment. So that's one of our tips, as you're making lifestyle choices and decisions as husband and wife.
Another assumption people might have is, wow, you guys are so lucky you have all this time just to study the Bible, and you get paid just to teach the Bible to us, and that's just not the case.
That's just not the case. We have spent a lot of time studying the Bible and having virtual mentors.
It's at very strange times, though. It's like late at night, early morning.
You guys, it's always at a sacrifice because we don't want to sacrifice our family. So what we do is we sacrifice our sleep. True. And we also love, something that's unique about Isaac and Angie is we actually really love on our date nights talking about and dreaming about and visioneering about ministry and what we're going to create for you guys.
And talking about theology.
And we love that. Oh my goodness. We love talking about theology and discussing it and researching and challenging each other. It's really fun.
Yeah.
And so that's just kind of how we're wired. And
I still have so much to learn, by the way, in the Bible.
Oh, same here. Okay, we're going through Revelations right now, and I'm so confused.
Wait. Okay. That's not. I'm teaching that, right?
You're doing a great job. I was reading ahead. Okay. So, anyways.
Okay.
Right. I just want to encourage you guys, though, because it would be easy for you to potentially stereotype us as the type that, like, or to maybe look at us and when you're talking about how we love to do this on date nights and you're like, well, I don't love to do that on date nights. I just want to veg out. And you know what? Can I just say it's okay.
We're all different.
You beat me to the punchline. It's okay.
We're all different.
God has a unique plan for your marriage and your family.
And you know what? We should probably just veg out more often. We should learn from you.
We joke about how we need the fun friends. Remember, we actually had friends when we were first married, and we were like, "Oh, they're the fun friends, and they're the theology friends."
No names.
No names. We're not doing that. But you guys, the reality is that we're probably a lot more down to earth than you probably thought we were. But there are some things that we like. They're a little odd. Like we like visioneering on our date nights a lot.
I want to take a moment and give you something for free, if you haven't got it already, is the Date Night One Sheet. It is a beautiful document you can download that has some key questions on it for your date night to just get in alignment about what's most important for your family. No matter what time of year, it's always important to recalibrate. You can get that by going to courageousparenting.com and subscribing to our mailing list. Also, you can get all of our show notes and everything at courageousparenting.com. And I also just want to share real quick about the Parenting Mentor Program. So many families are being transformed by going through this. It's the 6-week self-paced program with live engagement from us and even direct interaction. So if you want to join us, here's a little bit more about it. And you can find out more at courageousparenting.com.
Steve and I realized that we were getting too comfortable with the world's vision of how to raise our children.
What Angie and Isaac have done in creating this is literally phenomenal.
This program provided awesome scripture-based teachings and just some really great practical applications.
This class has just really rocked my world.
It has given me a vision for not just the different things that we might focus on as parents who are trying to raise our kids biblically, like how our kids are behaving or what we're doing with discipline, but also the things of the heart.
We now have a game plan to how we want to raise our children. We have so many answers to the questions that have been in our mind.
It's not just these hypothetical situations, or it's not just this, here's what I think you should do. It's, let me show you where in Scripture this is.
Do your legacy a favor and yourself a favor and just do it.
One of the best things that we've done this year, one of the best investments we've made this year, and I could not recommend it more.
We're no longer fearing dark days ahead, but we're so excited to raise lights, to be leaders for the next generation.
That's part of us.
Another assumption people might have is that your pregnancy is really easy. I mean, you must just have the best pregnancies having all these kids. And you also must have a lot of family close by because, to get help. Because I was working 60, 80, sometimes 100 hours a week in the early days. And so
and even,
you must have had just tons of help.
Yeah, both of those were false assumptions. I mean, I definitely. So it's different now. Obviously, we don't live close to family at all right now. There was a time where we lived closer to my parents. And when the older kids were really little, my dad was working a lot, but my mom was around and she would help, but she also worked a full-time job.
She was busy.
So she was very busy and was very busy serving in her church as well. And so not quite what you would suspect, right? And so the reality is that I mommed kind of like it
was a boot camp.
It was a lot of work. And I was alone as a mom in the sense of Isaac would go to work sometimes at 5 a.m, 6 a.m, the early years, the early first 6-7 years. And then, there were some seasons like postpartum and things like that where you were able to help.
I would say it was front loaded. So I worked way too much in the first year, way too much in the second year. And then it went down a little bit, but it was still too much. And then there was a point where it went down more, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And a lot more. And then, it was very normalized. I learned a lot of lessons.
Right. And then when we were building the business, you were back to working crazy hours with the publishing company.
Yeah.
And so that was intense because we had 6 kids at the time.
That's not that long ago.
And that was 5 years ago. And you were working like 80 to 100 hours a week again for a few years. And
trying to save the company up.
Yep. So it's been up and down. Our story's been up and down as far as like how much you've been working. Again, also when the business went under, you were working like crazy to get us out of debt and to provide and
from scratch.
So we were both working differently because I was also working with you along with doing the other stuff I was already doing. So we both have worked hard.
So when we first got married, so now we'll go a little timeline-ish. When we first got married, I had this silent thought of having 2 kids eventually. But it wasn't because I necessarily just loved the idea of having kids. It was like the American dream. You have 2 kids.
So funny that you actually had an American dream. That's hilarious.
No, I wrote about it. I have a journal from when I was a kid.
You do?
And yeah.
I want to see it.
And it's like, I'm going to be a business owner.
Do you still have this?
Yeah, I'm going to be a business owner. I'm going to be married. I'm going to have 2 kids.
You guys, I haven't seen this journal. I want to see this journal. That's really funny.
Yeah, so that was the extent of
you want to know
my depth.
Do you guys in junior high or maybe even younger, there was this game called MASH. Did you ever play MASH? No, that was a girl thing. We did this at like sleepovers. I don't even know what you're talking about. Anyway, if you're a girl, you know what I'm talking about. Mansion, apartment, shack, or house. And then you go around and you do this like counting thing and you figure out who you're going to marry and how many kids you're going to have and what kind of car you're going to He's looking at me like this is
Let's
crazy.
Move on.
Anyway, I thought when I was a little girl that I would have a family and have kids.
Yeah.
But then when I got older, I already shared this with you guys. When I was in late high school and early college, I thought I was going to be a missionary overseas. And so marriage and family was not on my radar. So when Isaac and I met, we had very differing ideas, obviously.
Well,
of
yeah,
because family was going to look like.
And I went through a period of time, frankly, before I met Angie, of not even believing in marriage anymore. So I don't even think kids weren't in my mind either anymore, even though early on they were.
Yeah.
But I kind of lost faith in any concept of marriage. Mm-hmm. And it was only the beauty of Angie that made me believe in marriage. Even
That's really
before
sweet.
I was a believer, actually.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, you guys, okay, so I'm just going to share this. This is so funny. I always tease him about this. I was actually working with Isaac.
Yeah.
And I came in to turn in orders.
Yeah.
And I walked in and he was in his office because he was the district manager running his own business. And I walked in.
We were both college students, though. I was on summer break running a business.
Yeah, and I had just gotten back from living in Turkey and doing missions over there and doing missions in Mexico. And I had like 6 weeks to work. So I had 3 jobs before I went back to Canada to go to Trinity Western, right? Mm. And I come in with my orders to turn in my orders. He goes, "Oh, hey, Angie, hey, I have a question for you." Comes out and he goes, "Do you believe in marriage?" And I'm like, I believe in marriage. And I turn, and he doesn't say anything for a minute. So then I like turn and I start walking to the order turn-in room. And he just kind of whispers under his breath, because I'm going to marry you someday. And I like turn around really quick, and he's already zipped into his office again, and he's gone. And I'm like, did you? And he goes, you heard me. And I was like, no. We're not going to ever be together.
That's for another episode.
Yeah.
That's for another episode.
So anyways,
But
you guys, we had a very different idea of what our lives would look like.
Yeah.
And your life probably looks very different than how you thought it would look like at some point. Right?
So then we got married. So fast forward a little bit. We got married, and we thought we'd wait 2 years to have a kid, and then you were pregnant 4 months later. And pregnancy was very difficult. Puking.
That's a really gentle way to put it. Yep, puking like 14 to 16 times a day, going and getting IVs.
IV in the hospital. I'm sitting with the laptop next to you,
on chemo,
writing a speech.
Chemo, anti-nausea meds.
Yeah.
Terrible stuff.
I remember those. And then we had this beautiful daughter, Kelsey, and
who had health issues.
And then there was this period of time we thought something was wrong. Of course, now once you have your first kid, you want to have the second one because you want them to grow up together.
Yeah. So we were trying to have another baby.
And no baby.
We thought something was wrong with me.
She's like, hey, man, something's wrong with you.
Okay. And then I ended up having an emergency appendectomy. I had a lot of gut issues, and I was pregnant during that appendectomy. Didn't know it. That's another story. Austin was born, had a hole in his heart.
And they told us we should for sure abort that pregnancy.
Yeah,
there was no way he would survive.
survive.
Or if he did, he would be totally messed up.
Cleft palate. I mean, there was all kinds of things they were.
So we're like, of course we're having the baby.
Warning us.
God's powerful.
Well, and we also were like, this is God's gift to us. This is God's child, and we're going to take it however he comes to us.
Yeah,
or she
we're
comes
not.
To us,
we don't get to make those decisions. God's decision.
So he was born, had a hole in his heart, and God healed him. And we can talk more about that.
But it was
in
almost
another
3
episode,
years between him and Kelsey.
Yep.
Yeah, and we were trying to have kids the whole time.
Yeah.
So that was
that
pretty
was
exciting.
a stressful time, and there wasn't, things were different back then. There wasn't social media, there wasn't blogs, there wasn't
not too much
internet really. I mean, there was some.
We had internet. We had a computer in the kitchen.
But things were different. Cell phones were even different, right? Like everything was just different then, and so there wasn't a lot of support. And I remember being very alone, and it was a hard season for sure. And you were done having kids because we had a girl and a boy.
Yeah, there we go. Done. We hadn't really talked about it though.
No, that's the weird part, right? And a lot of people. Here's an assumption that people think.
Yeah.
That I don't know. They think about themselves and they go, I don't think I could be patient enough to have that many kids and to homeschool them. They must be kid people.
And really patient. You know how impatient I was? I hate that I used to think these things, but I remember trying to go somewhere and I'm like, it takes forever to buckle the kids in.
But
I can't believe
it did take.
Why do we even try and go
32, anywhere? I remember one time I actually timed.
I can't wait until I don't have to.
32 minutes just to buckle everybody up. We had 5 kids in car seats at one time,
and then I would do
3 in diapers.
Then I would do the countdown. Okay, Austin's this old, so I'll be this age when they're all out of the house. I used to think like that.
I know, because we used to think more about ourselves and our futures. And you know what, guys?
And then we can travel, and then we can do all these dreams that we have.
Right. Yes. And the reason why you're thinking that way is because there was a lot of opportunity to travel internationally with the company that you were working for.
So we just did it anyways.
And we did travel, and we even took kids with us.
I wasn't working for the company. I was running a business.
Right.
But,
yes.
Yeah.
But we had the opportunity to win trips internationally, and we went to many places. We went to Argentina, France, Italy, Spain. Germany, Czech Republic. We were all over the place.
Yeah. Loved Italy.
Loved it.
Just loved
the
Italy.
Rock of Gibraltar. Anyway, so we've been all over the world, and we love traveling
while
together.
Having all these kids, and while you're sick the whole time.
I would be puking on the planes and pumping on the planes. And that was back when the pumps were not quiet. It was so embarrassing.
We just tried to do it all. By the way, I remember my my dad, who I've never met, unfortunately, that's another story, but he actually was a starting player for the Titans. Remember the Titans movie was depicted after. He was friends with the captains and so forth. And so we got invited to the premiere of that and sit with all the real players. And Petey Jones and the whole crew, and it was fantastic.
And the cast was there. I remember Denzel Washington was there.
And the president gave a little speech, and then we were at the ESPN Zone afterwards, and we were that was in the early days, and
Kelsey was 6 weeks old.
And you had mastitis?
I got mastitis while I was at this event, and this is a red carpet event. So Isaac's in a tux.
I remember that. It just made me think of that.
I knew you were going down this road. I was in this gown, and you guys, the lines in the women's bathroom at the ESPN Zone were crazy. There was only 2 stalls, and I took one up for like 40 minutes trying to pump, and it was horrible.
Here she is meeting the real Wonder Woman, and there's actors there and stuff. And
talk about embarrassing. It was just not. I had a fever of like 104. It was the most awful case of mastitis I've ever had in my life.
Anyways, back on track. So we've tried to continue doing while in receiving God's blessings, even though it's difficult.
Yes, and it was a lot of work, but I will say there was some sacrifice. So there were many times where you would go on trips, and I no longer was coming with you. Yeah, not necessarily international ones, but within the country. That was hard for me, and there were times where I would struggle with jealousy because I loved going on those trips. I'm more relational. And I like
and I hated going on them without you because you're more relational.
Thanks, babe. But we used to love going to these meetings because for us it was like we were on a mission, and we loved influencing people, encouraging people, and it was just so much fun. But it was hard to do that with kids, and so Isaac would often go without me.
And we ended up skipping some trips too.
Yeah. So you know what, guys? You probably have assumed that Isaac said this, that pregnancies are easy, and they're just not easy for me. I have struggled through every single one of the pregnancies to a certain degree, except, you know what? The last 2 were my easiest 2. My third was also easier.
So we're on 2 though, and I wanted to be done.
Yep.
And was that right?
Yes, you wanted to be done.
I wanted to be done.
He was
and then
planning
you had a dream.
A vasectomy.
You had a weird dream.
I had a weird dream that a child was missing.
Yeah.
And then the next day I went to the grocery store, and I had Austin in the front part of the cart and Kelsey in the big part of the cart. And they were both like 3. She was 3. He was no. Yeah, she was 3 and he was just a baby. He was like maybe 8 months old. And I thought that one of the kids was missing. Yeah. And I started scouring the grocery store. I don't know if you've ever lost a child before, but I thought I lost a child, and my heart was racing. I'm like pushing the cart, looking down every aisle, looking for my kid. And then all of a sudden it dawns on me that my 2 kids are actually in the cart, and I felt so dumb. And so I took the kids and I got in the minivan and I went back home, put them down for a nap, took a nap myself. And then Isaac came home, and that night I was like, you're not going to believe what I did today. And so I told him about what I experienced at the grocery store and how I felt like somebody was missing. And then again that night I had another dream. So I had 2 dreams back to back where like a child was missing at the zoo or something. I don't actually remember a lot about it. But then I just, because of that, in my gut, I felt like I don't think I'm done. It was how that spoke to me. I'm not letting go of this. Isaac wants to be done, and I'm like looking for the child that isn't here.
So what's a girl to do?
I know. So I told him that I wasn't sure if I was done, and he was done. And so then I was like, okay, he is done.
But I was in hindsight, I was very selfish. Meaning it was the reasons I wanted to be done were selfish reasons. I wanted my wife back, if you know what I mean. I wanted to be able to go places. I wanted it to be easier to go out to restaurants. I wanted to be able to just go to the movie and
travel
and chill, travel, and and then I was thinking about,
and there's money,
the cost, and all the things, and the pressure.
You had a cute little BMW convertible, and if we got one more kid, we were gonna have to sell it and get a different car. Remember that?
Yeah, Kelsey and I used to love riding with that top.
But seriously, you guys, this is just how it was.
Yeah.
For us, and so I was actually leading a Bible study at the time that challenged the thinking of, do we have the right to determine the size of our family, or, what does God's word say about this? And I was struggling. And can I just say that I'm leading hosting this Bible study at our house, and the majority of the women that were in the Bible study were much older than me. They were like 2 years older to like 12 years older.
Wow.
A lot of their husbands had vasectomies, or they had gotten their tubes tied. They were all done having kids, and I was not.
Pretty normal thing.
And here I am bringing up what the next question is in the Bible study, and I just bawled and was like, you guys, I can't lead this. I don't know what I believe. I need help. Will you pray for me? And I actually asked them, I told them that I didn't think I was done, and I said, pray for me to give up my desire for more kids to support my husband, because I thought that it would push him to a place that would be bad for our marriage. I just wasn't sure.
Super selfless of you and super selfish of me. I feel terrible about it.
But you know what, though? God grew both of us through it.
Yeah.
And then we switched places a few kids later, didn't we? And so, yeah. And so God blessed my womb 3 weeks later. And I was so scared to tell Isaac I was pregnant. But I was also like at peace knowing it was totally his will, because he had put this desire in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to be obedient to what would be best and selfless, right?
Mm.
And I think God just loved that, and he blessed me.
So you told me in a new way, though.
I did. Instead of telling him in a special way, I told him in front of Kelsey and Austin when he came home.
A little pressure on me.
Yeah. And he was like really excited. And I wasn't sure if he was excited because the kids were there, if it was really genuine. But then he just kept being excited. And I realized God had changed his heart.
Totally.
And it was a miracle.
It was.
And
I was super excited.
You were super excited.